All right, so I think we got to do this. I think we got to talk about Capcom Cup a little bit, don't we? Japan Twitter, especially the fighting game side of it, is usually pretty, how can I say, relatively level-headed, at least for, like, as far as Twitter goes. Like, I don't hate it. Let's go like this. Before we talk about what Japan is saying, let me show you guys a really important thing here, okay? And this is not, don't mince my words here. Don't think I'm trying to cover for Capcom. But one thing I think we do have to talk about is the cost of this event. I know you guys probably can't read this, but this is how much it costs to rent the venue that they're at. So a bunch of different numbers here. This is all in Japanese yen. Now, you have different categories here. This is for, like, educational institutions. This is for, like, religious institutions. This is for, like, event displays and then, like, selling things. And this is for pro sports. So I'm going to assume that Capcom Cup falls under the pro sports category. Anyways, they're in the highest tier category because sports, they get charged the most for the event hall there. So 3 days, you add it all up. I did the math. I calculated about, what was it? About $150,000 USD to run this event. Now, my math might be wrong. I'm incredibly bad at math. But just for renting the venue for Capcom Cup is $150,000. We don't know if they cut a deal with the event hall because it's kind of like, you know, you help me, I help you kind of thing. This is just what they charge. This is just face value. If I were to walk in there tomorrow and be like, hey guys, what's up? I want to run the Chris F Cup. That's how much they're going to charge. They're going to charge me $150,000 for 3 days. That's without internet. That's without stream setups. That's without commentators. That's just to rent the event hall. $150,000. Plus the, what do you call it? The prize money. $1 million plus whatever it was, you know, so we're at over $1 million now. Plus you got to pay commentators, you know, talent, internet. It all adds up. So I think it would be pretty safe to assume that this whole thing easily cost Capcom $2 million. Like, I think that'd be a pretty fair assumption. $2 million. I mean, $1 million just for the prize pool. The event hall is costing them almost $200,000. You know, you pay people here, you pay people there, some other fees here and there. You know, that can easily be an extra $800,000. No problem. I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass here, but that's what I would assume. Then, this is the one. This is how much Capcom has spent on their esports stuff and how much they've made on their esports the past couple years. So, if we look at the top column, this one here, these are sales, and these are their costs. They're expecting to lose 11 billion yen or million yen. I'm so bad at math. I can't remember what it was, but it's in the millions of dollars mark. So they're losing a ton of money. I'm incredibly bad at math, especially converting from yen to dollars, especially because I'm not American. I don't know how much the yen turns into dollars and the conversion rate and stuff like that, but just they're losing lots of money on this event. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the pay-per-view thing. I'm just saying it costs a lot of money to do this. It's an issue that not only Street Fighter or fighting games have, it's that every single major fighting game event, every single major esport right now is bleeding money. So they need to do something to circumvent that. So I'm thinking that their solution was, let's make it pay-per-view. But I think where most of the anger and most of the frustration is coming from is, at least in my opinion, the fact that they've been giving us very little up until now, aside from just free streams. People have been asking for costumes for a really long time. We haven't gotten them. It's like a drip feed every year of like 1 or 2 costumes sprinkled here and there. All the stuff from like Street Fighter 5 days of like the CPT stages and all that kind of stuff, they haven't been doing that. They haven't been doing CPT costumes. And then all of a sudden out of left field, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to make it pay-per-view. I think that's where most of the anger is coming from. I think had they done lots of different costumes and lots of different CPT event stuff, like CPT costumes, the CPT stage, and then they announced the pay-per-view, I think everybody's reaction would have been like, well, they tried their best, but now it looks like they really need money, so yeah, okay, I guess we gotta pay. People would still complain, people still wouldn't be happy, but I think their reaction would have been a lot less angry. Next, let's finally get into what the Japanese FGC is saying, and again, I'm just pulling these random tweets from Twitter. This is not representative of what I think. I'm just the translator here. If you don't like what they're saying, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what they're saying in my own words. All right, so again, I just pulled some random ones here, but this person's saying, all right, talking about making the Capcom Cup pay-per-view, he goes, I'm worried that they're going to destroy the community that they worked so hard to finally build. If you guys don't know, here in Japan, they've built up a really big community, not just of like FGC boomers, but lots of young people. So this person's kind of scared that this announcement will push away like the new community that they finally made. And he says, everybody who, like, not everybody, he says everybody, but I don't think he really means everybody. I think he's trying to say like lots of people who are watching Street Fighter, or at least Capcom Cup, not just for the game, but they're also watching to see their favorite players. If you guys don't know, here in Japan, they have a ton of fans who watch because, I don't know if you guys are into like, what do you call it, music culture and everything. You guys know what Oshi means? I'm gonna assume at least some of you guys know what Oshi means because he uses this word Oshi here in his tweet. You know, like your favorite idol, like your favorite musician or your favorite fighting game player. So they're saying a lot of people watch for their Oshi, not just for the game itself. He says, especially when you get to like top 12. And they say they want to watch their favorite player, but now they're going to make it paid. So they're kind of losing the chance with that paywall. They might take that chance away from people to see their favorite player play because of the money. So this person just saying, I'm worried. They're not really saying it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. Just I'm worried that a paywall is going to reduce the number of people who are able to watch their favorite player, therefore reducing interest. All right, that's our first tweet. Okay, this person's kind of defending Capcom. This person's saying, I don't think Capcom wants to make it paid, but they kind of have to. And then he kind of makes an analogy between here in Japan, lots of things have been getting more expensive at like convenience stores and restaurants, and even brings up the topic of like 7-Eleven, how they've kind of made their bento boxes smaller or sandwiches with less stuff inside. He goes, and as the 7-Eleven, he says they probably think that they don't want to make it smaller. They don't want to put less stuff inside the sandwich, but if they want to sell it for a similar price, I think that's kind of what they have to do. He goes, they don't want to do it, but they're doing it anyways. And he goes, by the way, Capcom, their stock price since July has gone below 1,000 yen, which I think is about $8 American or something like that. I'm just rounding here. And he goes, there's definitely a relationship between that and this decision, but I'm not sure. He's like saying maybe, I don't know. Could there be a relationship between the two? This person says making it pay-per-view is a really bad idea, pretty much. He goes, isn't there a different way they could have done it? He goes, we worked so hard to build up all this hype and everything for Capcom Cup, and now they're kind of like throwing that away. All right, so again, like we're seeing a lot of mixed takes from Japan here, but nobody's like 100% for it, like 100% against it exactly, right? And I find these takes to be pretty level-headed. Okay, this person's kind of against it. He says this for Capcom Cup pay-per-view, it's focusing way too much on Japan. Like Capcom is focusing way too much on Japan with this decision. Street Fighter 6 is a global game, right? And looking from that point, this is like not a good decision. They should be thinking more about getting everybody together. He says it seems like a lot of people feel the same way. He goes, I understand and I can agree with making it paid, but isn't it too expensive, 6,000 yen? He goes, if thinking of this from the perspective like from Japan as a Japanese viewer, I've never seen or heard of a 6,000 yen or $40-ish USD stream for an esports event. He says the Japanese pro players, nobody has really talked about this yet. And he goes, it's kind of makes me sad to see how weak of a position that they're in that they can't say anything about this topic. So that brings me to my next point. Like the North American players, Mana made a tweet against it saying he thinks it's a bad idea. I know a couple of other top players did. I think Dual Kevin said something. I might be wrong about that. Brian F. Broski. Yeah, Broski's been shitting on it in a very, in my opinion, a very sarcastic English Broski kind of way. But anyways, I guess the point I'm trying to make is North American pro players, they're very vocal about what they think. And they are very quick to tweet about whatever they're thinking and in reaction to this. But I am almost certain, like almost 100% sure, that Japanese players will not say a peep about any of this. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing, in my opinion. There are some huge cultural differences, but just here in Japan, it's not really a thing. It's not really a thing where you kind of speak out against your employer so much. And Capcom is kind of their employer, not necessarily, but kind of in a slightly, how can I say, distant way. But if a pro-Japanese player does talk about the Capcom Cup pay-per-view thing, my prediction, if anybody is going to say anything, I think it's going to be Daigo. Because he's kind of in a unique position where he's kind of on like a level different than anybody else in terms of the weight of what he says, the respect he demands through his history, and then also the fact that he can say things because he's been someone who's done so much, and people aren't going to crucify Daigo out of anybody for saying something like a little bit of a spicy take. So I think Daigo has a little bit of immunity from that kind of stuff. Let me go to my next thing. We talked a little bit about the Japanese tweets here. Here's another issue that I see with all this. Regardless of how you feel about pay-per-view being good or bad, one thing I really didn't like was the fact that they only just threw that slide up and put it with, what do you call it, Japanese yen. And there's no talk of, will there be regional pricing? What kind of stream are they going to offer? If they even said, we're going to provide you with a stream that's far surpasses everything we've done the years before. Okay, let me put it this way. Let me say this. Let's imagine right now I snap my fingers and a patch for Street Fighter 6 drops. All right, we get a brand new patch. And the only thing they do in this patch is they make every single special move cost drive meter. Are you going to be happy about that? No, because something that you've been getting for free up until now costs meter. But that move didn't get any better. It's exactly the same as the move you had before. It's just a regular special move, but it costs meter to do. And that's kind of what they're doing with this Capcom Cup, I feel. Like, if they give us the same kind of stream that they gave us last year, while last year was a pretty good stream, I thought, if they give us the exact same thing and just like, oh yeah, by the way, it costs $40 now, that's not going to cut it. They have to go far and beyond what they've been giving up until now if they're going to charge that much of a price. They could have done a free stream and a premium stream. So many people would love to pay to support Capcom if they're fortunate enough to have disposable income. I agree, and I think that's the thing that's kind of making people mad. I think people want to spend money. Like I know they always talk about the costumes being so hard to make. I think people will pay for like slop at this point. Just like throw like a CPT headband on Ryu and people buy that for like $5 at this point. Like maybe they don't want to do that, but I think at this point I'd buy it. If you told me like I don't know, 10% of the sales went to the CPT pot, okay, yeah, I'll buy it. I'll buy a stupid Ryu headband with the word CPT on it, whatever, cool, let's do it. And then I think they really, really, really needed to announce regional pricing, or even just say they're not doing regional pricing. Just mention something. I think that would have been really important. I think it feels like a total money grab at this point. I think it's not so much the announcement that people are losing their shit over. I think it's also the way they did it. It just came across as really tone deaf and really light on information. And when you're making an announcement like this, I think you have to come at it with as much information as possible, because people are going to make every single assumption they can possibly make. Nobody's going to have a level-headed approach to this. All right, it's Twitter number one, it's FGC Twitter number two, and you're charging people money. So people are going to fucking lose their shit. You can't just be like, expect everybody to be like, oh yeah, well I guess it must be really tough to run this event. They probably cost a lot of money. That's not going to happen. Yeah, there's zero details about anything. They didn't even write the price in American dollars. People are like, yo, how much is 6,000 yen? It's like, well, it actually changes by the day because of conversion rates. But, you know, nobody asked that. Nobody wrote nothing about that shit, so I don't know. All right, let's look at some more tweets. It says, at the very least, if you charge money, people who have like just a little bit of interest aren't going to watch. And he says, I think there's quite a few people who have like waning interest in the game or like a casual interest, but as soon as you mention the money thing, they're like, yeah, I know, I'm done. This is the one. I thought this was a really smart tweet. This was a really level-headed take here too. Okay, this person's saying, I don't mind paying, and I'm actually happy to pay to support this kind of event. But he's saying some people online are saying, well, there are some regions in the world where they can't pay that much money for a pay-per-view. Like it's very expensive in that region. Or we just released the Switch 2 version of Street Fighter 6, and now we finally got new players, and he says children too, because a lot of kids have Switch 2 here in Japan. So we've got new young players playing, and now you're making it paid. And he goes, and I understand that feeling too. So I understand the feeling of wanting to pay for this because you want to support them. And then I also understand the part where it's like, yeah, well, it's too expensive in some areas, and what about the kids? Please think of the children. He goes, it's a really difficult situation. So that's it. I mean, I don't know where to go with that. I think this is a really difficult discussion. So I'm pretty sure that because this is pay-per-view, restreams aren't allowed. Let's just assume that they're not. But from what I can see, there's only a Japanese language stream and an English language stream. So what are people from regions or areas, like people who can't speak English or Japanese, what are they supposed to do? You're going to spend $40 US to watch the stream and cheer in a language you can't even understand? Like, I don't know, man. Like, that seems pretty fucking lame to me. I know a lot of people are saying they're only thinking about Japan, But at least, like, if you're from an English-speaking country, at least you can watch and enjoy the English stream by spending your money. If you don't come from an English-speaking country and you're not one of those people who can speak English, at least at a level good enough to understand a fighting game stream, well, you're shut out of luck. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I mean, I think is the price, number one, the lack of information, the lack of multilingual streams, not letting us know anything about nothing, and also the complete absence of anything cool other than a promise of a Mecha Zangief costume, which all the Zangief players, all 100 of them in the world or whatever, how many Zangief players are there? Maybe 500 might buy. Out of those 500, how many will actually buy it? I don't know. I don't know why you would focus on a costume for one character. Just pump out some more Chun-Li or Cammy stuff and make your buck that way. I don't know. Yeah, $15, I can still see people from other countries being kind of mad though with conversion. I think $10 or less would be more fair price, or even just do regional pricing, whatever. So I don't know. That's it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm not really happy about this, but I'm way too jaded and way too pessimistic to expect anything to change for the better. So that's my take. It's expensive. Rent's too damn high. See you guys in the next one. Peace.